Hi, Skint Flynn here. I'm 65 years old. I've been riding motorcycles for 47 years. I've owned over 35 motorcycles, 14 of which have been Triumphs. Hi there from Skint Flynn Motorcycling here on the beautiful Gower Peninsula. I've enjoyed a love affair with motorcycling that spans almost 5 decades and over 30 motorcycles. My mantra has always been maximum enjoyment for minimum expense. And I'd like to share some of the tricks and tips that I picked up along my journey. Motorcycling is a dangerous activity. It's largely undertaken by the reckless, the irresponsible, and sometimes, out of sheer necessity, by the very poor. People who undertake this activity tell me that it can be addictive. Well, so are cigarettes, and people give those up every day. So I urge you, if you're thinking of becoming a motorcyclist, don't do it. If you already are, give it up. It'll come to no good. Hello again, Skint here from Skint Flynn Motorcycling. As you may know, my aim in life is to enjoy my motorcycling for as little money as I need to spend. And I've been buying a bit of stuff from China on Aliexpress, and I thought I'd review it for you. Feeling the cold a little this winter, so I decided I needed some under trousers, something thermal to keep me warm. And I came up with these. Now these are like a tracksuit bottom. They're advertised as down-lined. Now I don't know that they're down-lined. I suspect they're not, but I'd have to take them apart to find out, and I'm not prepared to do that. But what I would say is they're very, very effective. They have a pocket both sides with a zip. Now for thermal reasons, you'd want to keep the zip done up, because what I've noticed, if I wear these for walking the dog in the winter, when I unzip the pocket, I can feel the cold going in. That's how effective the trousers are. So for under your trousers on the bike, you want to keep this pocket zipped up. That doesn't mean you can't put stuff in them, but keep the pocket zipped up. They've got elasticated ankles, which is very useful because you can do the ankles up and pull some long socks on top. So I'll turn one leg inside out for you. They are lined with a kind of woolly type fabric. It's obviously synthetic, it's not wool, but it is very, very effective. And I haven't been out below zero yet, but I'm sure they'd be effective below zero. I've been out at about 5 degrees on a damp day, and damp transmits the cold so much worse than a dry day, and these were very, very effective. So at around £10 delivered, I thoroughly recommend them if you can get them on underneath your normal trousers. So moving on, that's the trousers. In this day and age, most of us carry so many things on our bike, so many gadgets, cameras, phones. I wanted to buy a mount to mount my phone on the handlebars of my bike, the Triumph T100 to be specific. So I bought this clamp. I'll show you how it works. And it's fairly straightforward. It's just a U-clamp. I'm sure you all understand that. But it does come, oh, I can't even undo that, it's a spanner. It comes with a spanner actually. This isn't the spanner for it, but it does come with a very cheap stamped spanner, so even if you don't have a spanner, you can still put it together. All the fittings are stainless steel, The U-bolt, the washers, the lock nuts are all stainless steel, if you can see that. The clamp itself has elongated holes, and so does the sole plate for it. The purpose of this sole plate is purely to stop the stainless steel from being up against wherever you mark it on the bike. So that needn't be very strong, but the actual ball mount is one piece of solid plastic, and it is very, very strong. It's nylon. I mean, I haven't done anything to test it, but I doubt very much you'd be able to break that. As I say, elongated holes in both sides of it, so that you can use the big U clamp, which they say goes up to 37mm, or the smaller one. For the Triumph T100 handlebars, I needed to use the bigger one. The smaller one would probably have gone around it, but it would have been metal to metal. So you just put this through the seat. As I say, the seat just gets clamped against the bars, and the purpose of that is just to stop the metal marking your handlebars or frame or wherever you're going to mount it. The way I've mounted it, or what I found, it also comes with a piece of rubber to further insulate it, because plastic, of course, whilst it's not sharp or strong, could also mark your paintwork if you clamped it up tight enough. So they give you a piece of rubber to act as an insert as well. So when I fitted it, I've put the clamp on the handlebars of the bike. I found that was the easiest way, and then slip the rubber in between the bars, be it your frame, handlebar or whatever, and that will then stop the plastic marking, paint, handlebars, anything that you mount it up against. Two sizes of clamp, spanner comes with it. This costs £3.71, and I think that's excellent value. So much so that I'm going to buy another two so that I can mount the cameras. I've got 3 cameras in all at various points on the bike for making ride videos. So that's that. While we're still on the subject of cameras, this is a ball mount clamp. This cost, let me just see, this was £3.46, and by the time they add the duty, it was, and delivery, £3.46. It was actually £2.90, so it's quite a lot goes on in duty, etc. That fits on there, no doubt. If you use ball clamps, you know exactly what I've got here. This is a very heavy duty metal, not steel. I would imagine it's cast aluminium. It's pretty heavy, pretty strong. The fittings on this, unlike the clamp, are not stainless steel. They're just cadmium or whatever they plate bolts, nuts and bolts with these days. But it's a pretty good piece of kit, and it's if you need to know what length it is, it's a 9.5 centimeter long mount, because they come in different sizes. You can get longer ones as well, longer and shorter. So there we are. That's what I've been spending my money on this month. I tend to buy something on Aliexpress every month. The stuff is so cheap. If you spend more than £8, I sound like an advert for Aliexpress. If you spend more than £8 on a lot of items, then they lump the postage becomes free. So they call that choice. If you go to the choice items, anything on choice, you spend more than £8, it usually comes in one envelope, the various different items, and there's no charge for the postage. Well, I can't understand how they can do that when you think it costs £1.65 to send a letter in the UK, second class. The only drawback of shopping on AliExpress, it is a gamble. I've very rarely bought anything I haven't been happy with, but the stuff is so cheap, it would cost you more to send it back if you did have a complaint than to buy another one. So bear that in mind. But there we are. That's what I've been buying this last couple of weeks. Hope it's of some use to you. So this is one of the things that's been happening with Skint over the last week or two. This bike I've had for 6-7 years, and I had it up and running. It was running really well, but the engine was smoking. It had done 70,000 miles, so I purchased another Trophy 1200, and purely for this engine, which had only done 30,000 miles despite the damage to the paintwork. As you can see, I've painted the front of the engine because it was easy to do that before I put the engine in. Some of the covers are a bit scabby. The cam cover and this, I don't know what you call that. That's the pickup for the ignition. That cover's a bit scabby, a little bit scabby around there, but the engine that came out of this bike, they're all perfect, so bits will be swapped over. Could do with a good clean. It wasn't clean before I took it apart, so it'll be cleaned up, etc. But it's come together quite nice. In this current iteration, I've stripped the paint off the stainless steel exhausts. They don't look too good at the moment, but they will do when once they're polished up a little with a Brillo pad. I used Harpic 10X to get all the staining off them once I'd stripped the paint, and they've come up quite nice. So once I change the engine covers, etc., it will look very presentable. I've got another seat to go on it as well, because that seat's not great, but it's up the loft. I haven't been up the loft for a while, so next time I go up to get the Christmas tree down, that'll come down. But yes, I call it the Beast affectionately, because this 1200 Trophy motor, which is not the same as the Daytona, which was 147 brake horsepower, this is the 108 brake horsepower version, but has more low to mid-range torque, and it really is a torque monster. This is a little tip for cleaning rusty stainless steel. You might think that's an anomaly. The stainless steel doesn't rust. Well, it does. There's different qualities of stainless steel. I think stainless steel is an alloy of chrome and mild steel, if I remember rightly. And depending on how much, presumably, chrome is in it, it has a propensity to corrode. So this product here, Harpic 10X, is very, very caustic. It says it kills 99.9% of bacteria, and it probably does the same to rust. So I'll put this on this exhaust that I'm getting ready to put back on my bike, and you can tell me what you think. It's very cheap. I think it's only £1 or £2 a bottle. Oh, and it smells of citrus. There we are. Anyway, let's begin. I've brushed this with some already, but I'll brush some more on. It's very caustic. Try not to get it on your hands like I do. Health and safety is not my greatest asset. Bit of wire wool, just to agitate it and get it under the surface. And this is just an exhaust that's come off a bike. It's not been cleaned at all. A bit of cloth. And as you can see, quite impressive. I think it'll even take the heat marks out of the welds, if I'm not mistaken. Rub it off. Yep, even takes the heat marks out of the welds. Up here, even with just 2 minutes of agitation and a wire brush, you can see what it's capable of. And this is the finished article, ready to go on the bike. You've got to make sure to clean all that Harpic 10X off, because if you don't, it will corrode. And the best way to do it is with a pan scourer and some washing up liquid. There we are. Marvellous product. Hope that was of some use.